On our wedding anniversary night, I waited in vain for my wife to return home. Instead, I received a divorce notice. Let's get divorced. Guan Chong is back. If you kneel down and beg me, I might consider it. Just kidding. You were the one who wanted to get married in the first place, and now you're the one who wants a divorce. Are you out of your mind? After receiving Emily Carter's divorce notice, I didn't respond at all. I silently tossed the bouquet of flowers I'd prepared for her into the trash can and removed the delicate, yet unappealing candles and Western food. These were things she adored, but I'd never truly cared for them. Presumably growing impatient from my lack of response, Emily quickly came home. As soon as she opened the door, a strong and complex odor hit her. Her face, accustomed to a pampered life, froze, and she furrowed her brow, raising a hand to cover her nose and mouth. But it wasn't anything overly unpleasant, just the combined smell of stinky tofu, river snail rice noodles, and deep, fried small salted fish. After clearing away the fancy dinner prepared for the wedding anniversary, I immediately used my phone to order a bunch of strongly scented takeout. Since marrying this delicate and elegant young lady, I hadn't enjoyed the simple pleasures of ordinary people for a long time. It wasn't that I particularly liked these pungent foods, but because Emily, this pampered and high-status young lady, strongly disliked such smells. Yes, I did it on purpose. After a while, Emily was still frowning, but she finally lowered her hand from her face. "Michael Thompson, let's get divorced," she said without any pretense. I didn't mince words either. "Sure, but all the property, including the company, is mine, and you leave with nothing." Emily's already stiff face froze again. "Why?" "Because you were the one who wanted to get married, and now you're the one who wants a divorce. We've been married for 10 years, and you've never agreed to have a child. Were you waiting for your old flame? Are you using me like a tool? Besides the company, I can give you everything else. The company was originally left to me by my parents. It has nothing to do with you. If it weren't for me, your family's struggling company would have gone under long ago. But now, not only do I get no credit, I don't even get any recognition for my hard work." Emily didn't give me a chance to retort. After she finished speaking, she turned and walked away without looking back, just like she always did. She throws a tantrum and leaves when things don't go her way. But this time, I wouldn't chase after her. The next day, before noon, a divorce agreement was sent to my phone. Looking closely, it was indeed as she said. Except for the company, everything else was mine, and she would also compensate me an additional $5 million. On the surface, it seemed quite fair, but wasn't my youth also valuable? 10 years ago, Emily's parents died unexpectedly, and the family company also had cash flow problems, on the verge of bankruptcy. It was at this time that she started to approach me. Perhaps as the daughter of a businessman, she was also a shrewd operator. Rather than facing the risk of being completely swallowed up by a disadvantageous marriage, it was easier to control a nouveau riche's son like me. I took all the money my family had worked hard to earn for many years, a total of $3 million, and used it as a dowry to marry her. She used this money to invest in her career. It had to be admitted that Emily was indeed very capable in business, and I also diligently played the role of her good husband, accompanying her to various events, socializing with all sorts of people, building connections, and networking. Without me, Emily might not have gone bankrupt or been completely exploited, but she definitely wouldn't have her current status and position. Now that her old flame has returned, she wants to dump me. Does she really think I'm a pushover? So, I immediately sent Emily my own divorce agreement, still demanding that she leave with nothing. A day passed, and Emily didn't reply to me at all. Really, no one in the world is better at giving the silent treatment than her. But this time, no one was going to indulge her. I picked up my phone and carefully crafted a message. "Emily, this is the last chance I'm giving you. Miss this opportunity, and you'll be stuck with me for life. Even if you agree to leave with nothing later, I won't let you go. Don't regret it." This time, she didn't remain silent, but only sent back a cold response. "The company is mine. See you in court." Every word was filled with disdain. So, 10 years of marriage couldn't change the fact that she looked down on me. How ridiculous. I gave her an inch, and she took a mile. Since marrying Emily, she had arranged a position for me in the company. Although I was always one step below her, I still had some authority. Since she looked down on me so much, I certainly couldn't let her have an easy time. Before going to court, I gave all my key subordinates paid annual leave and sent them on vacations to various places in Europe, America, and Australia at my own expense. Wait, I'm not divorced from Emily yet, so half of the money for sending the employees on vacation is hers. Using her money to send her employees to the ends of the earth was a win-win situation. I couldn't cause the company to collapse in a massive storm, but making her utterly frustrated wasn't a problem. With the employees taken care of, I certainly wouldn't go to work either. It was time for some well-deserved rest. Eat, sleep, sleep, eat. This was the best way for ordinary people to spend their holidays. I hadn't felt this good since I married Emily, but it didn't last long. After all, my actions directly brought the workaholic, who already didn't like coming home, and came home even less after her old flame, Guan Chong, returned back home. My wife, who originally wouldn't come home for 7 days, came home twice in 3 days under my slightly cunning tactics. I'm really too clever. Michael, are you crazy? Emily went straight to the bedroom and stood over me as I lay on the bed, questioning me. I imitated her by giving her the cold treatment, saying nothing, not even looking at her, and continuing to play with my phone. She was so arrogant, always looking down on others and wearing that calm, confident expression even when facing her own husband. After not getting a response from me, Emily's calm face seemed to crack slightly. It turns out that the one who's always giving the silent treatment can't stand it when it's done to them. What exactly do you want? My terms are already generous. The company is my family's. I can't give it to you. Yes, the company that I poured my heart and soul into saving with you is yours, but I, this good-natured person, am not yours. I was too lazy to waste words with her and used the cold shoulder treatment I'd learned from her to the fullest. I could clearly feel her growing more and more irritated. Perhaps she also realized that if she continued like this, she wouldn't be able to maintain her elegance. So, after taking a few deep breaths, she started to argue as before and then stormed off. How a shall? Does she think anyone will chase after her? If she wants to leave, then leave. It would just be embarrassing if she found no one chasing after her to soothe her. A thought suddenly struck me. If I don't placate her, her old lover will. Damn it. I suddenly felt incredibly uncomfortable. I didn't want them to be happy. While aimlessly scrolling through my phone, thinking about how to mess with this unfaithful couple, I suddenly came across a picture of me and Emily after waking up from a nap. It's funny. We've been married for 10 years, and apart from our wedding photo, we don't have any other photos together. The few photos of her were taken on a whim. In the photo, Emily is wearing a black lace camisole slip dress, which faintly reveals her fair skin. Combined with her clean and gentle face, no man could remain unmoved. At that time, Guan Chong hadn't returned yet. Not to say how affectionate Emily was towards me, but at least she wasn't as cold as she is now. At this thought, an idea came to mind. There was someone on WeChat who had suddenly added me after Emily filed for divorce. They hadn't greeted me at all. It was obvious who it was. So, I immediately posted the photo, which I'd even forgotten when I took it, on all my WeChat moments with the caption, "It's been a long time since I took a nap with my wife," set to be visible only to Guan Chong. I really wanted to see if he would react. Even if he didn't, it was fine since it was only visible to him, and I wouldn't lose face. It turned out I was wrong. It wasn't even 3 minutes after the post, and that guy couldn't sit still. "Can we meet?" he asked. I wondered if he was stalking me, but I wasn't worried. I wanted to see what this home wrecker looked like. I always knew Emily had someone she had been dating since her student days. She had loved him for 5 years. I had never seen him, and I didn't need to because Emily said she had broken up with him cleanly and that from now on, there was only me. But who knew I would end up meeting him? Maybe it was prejudice, but Guan Chong gave off the same aura as Emily. He looked like a pampered young master. The biggest advantage of communicating with such a person is that it's always civilized. There are no arguments, let alone fights. As soon as I sat down, Guan Chong immediately began apologizing. "I'm very sorry. I didn't know Emily was married. I didn't mean to break up your marriage. I'm really sorry. I was confused." So, if you didn't know and you're sorry, wouldn't the correct thing to do be to leave immediately and never appear before me again? But instead, he had invited me out for a chat. After finishing his seemingly sincere apology, Guan Chong launched into a long monologue about how unforgettable and heart-wrenching those 5 years with Emily had been since their student days. It was so moving, a vow of eternal love, as if the whole world should shed tears for them. But I was numb listening to it all. Why did he ask me out? Was it to tell me his touching love story, so I would be moved and then willingly give up Emily to him? I'd had enough. I regretted thinking he and Emily were similar at first. He wasn't even as straightforward as Emily. Out of politeness, I forced myself to listen for a while. But how could a person be so long-winded? After listening to Guan Cheng's self-absorbed monologue for what felt like an eternity, my brain was in a fog, my eyes were glazing over, and I was starting to zone out. Emily and I weren't really that affectionate. Just like how she approached me, my marrying her was the result of weighing the pros and cons. My parents were uneducated people from the lower class, but fate smiled on this couple who loved life. Thanks to a small salted fish stall, their business thrived, and they were able to give me a wealthy life. They even sent me to a prestigious school like the children of the rich. It was there that I realized the class difference between people couldn't be overcome just with money. At school, the most common thing I heard was, "A salted fish, even after flipping over, is still a salted fish." And it was at this time that Emily approached me. Her intentions were obvious, and I understood. But for me, it was an opportunity, a chance to cross class lines. I needed her connections to meet more people from all walks of life, and she needed my family's money to protect her family's assets. Back then, she was very sincere in confessing that she had a previous relationship, but she also promised that it was all in the past, completely over, and that she wanted to start anew. With her sweet appearance and refined manners, she was very popular with my parents. I had to admit, she was indeed charming. It didn't take long for me to fall in love with her. I naively started thinking that when our mutual benefit turned into mutual love, it would be a win-win situation. After marriage, I sincerely did everything that a good husband should do. From dating to marriage, Emily was always reserved and elegant. There was nothing wrong with all of this. That was my impression of her. Not very talkative, reserved yet generous, aloof yet gentle. She always treated me the same way, even after we were married. For a long time, I always thought that was just her personality. That's how she was. Until I helped her revive her family's company. And at the celebratory banquet, when everyone was a bit tipsy, her friends started reminiscing about the past. It turned out that her ex was named Guan Chong, a rich young master, and he and Miss Emily were a perfect match. The Emily in the mouths of this group of almost drunk people was adorable and charming. Emily is indeed beautiful. I know that as her husband. But I've never seen what Emily is like when she's being cute. I looked at Emily. Her slightly tipsy look was clearly full of reluctance and unwillingness. So, her feelings for Guan Chong were actually so deep and strong. It turned out that this somewhat wealthy but unnecessary guy, was the one who blocked their love path. It's a lie to say I wasn't sad. The person sleeping next to me had been thinking about another man for all these years. I was just being naive. It turned out that she had only been using me all along. But it's okay. If you want to achieve great things, you can't let love get in the way. If she doesn't love me, then she doesn't love me. Thanks to her social status, I've also been able to interact with many outstanding entrepreneurs who are capable, good at networking, and full of positive energy. In these past few years, these are things that I have genuinely gained. I should thank Emily. As long as she gives me enough face in front of outsiders, I am willing to give her the same respect in return. After all, in this so-called high society, there were many couples who maintained a polite facade while living separate lives. It seemed like half an hour had passed, and Guan Chong was still talking non-stop. I just didn't understand how a grown man could be so long-winded. He wasn't tired of talking, but I was tired of listening. Are you done talking? Who likes to hear love stories about their wife and a third party? I'm about to be sick. Hearing this, Guan Chong was stunned, and his carefully maintained elegance almost crumbled. These people really did care about face and couldn't stand being called a third party. What a joke. If that's the case, you should know better than to get involved. I heard that after problems arose at Emily's home, you immediately disappeared abroad. Now that she's recovered and returned to her former glory as everyone's darling, you've come back. Young Master Gu, you really know how to pick your timing. Are you saying all this because you want me to give Emily to you? That's not what I meant. There were reasons. After hesitating for a long time, Guan Chong only managed to utter these unconvincing words. I really didn't want to listen to another half hour of his nonsense, so I interrupted him. No reason justifies you coming back now to reap the benefits. When she was in trouble, you turned tail and ran. Now that she's endured all the hardships, you've come crawling back. Frankly speaking, you're a disgrace to men. I felt disgusted continuing to sit face to face with Guan Chong, so after speaking, I got up and left. Guan Cheng's departure might really have a reason that Emily, who cares about him, would surely believe. But to me, it was also laughable. If Emily had overcome her difficulties alone, I might have felt sorry for her foolishness, but that wasn't the case. It was me who helped her through, yet now Emily and Guan Chong were inseparable and even wanted me to help them be together. That wasn't right. What's mine I won't let go of anything. Soon, I received a lawyer's letter from Emily. She was suing for divorce. I forwarded this to my lawyer, David White. Even through the screen, I could almost see the Weinande Baoqing on David's face. The female party's property division is actually very reasonable. On the contrary, it's almost impossible for you to make the other party leave with nothing, even with evidence that the female party has been unfaithful, because the concept of leaving with nothing is not legally recognized. All right, I was initially hoping for something simpler. Since Emily was being unkind, don't blame me for being unyielding. Then I won't get a divorce. David, with his professional team, didn't waste any words and replied immediately. If you don't want a divorce, your chances of winning are very high. After all, our country's law is very reluctant to grant divorce cases. Only in cases of bigamy, cohabitation with another person, domestic violence, abuse, abandonment of family members, or other major wrongdoings will a divorce be granted. Since you are the innocent party, as long as you don't want a divorce, it absolutely won't happen for 3 to 5 years. That's great then. I was initially planning to show mercy and return Emily to her original state before Cheng her love story with Guan Chong. But unfortunately, now I could only wish them luck unilaterally. As expected, in court, lawyer David was incredibly passionate, using all his eloquence to convey my love for Emily. The judge was almost moved to tears, and the divorce suit was unexpectedly rejected. Imagining Emily's elegant little face turning green almost made me laugh out loud. But who knew? Guan Chong couldn't wait and sent me a message first. Mr. Michael Thompson, I really didn't intentionally try to destroy your marriage, but Emily doesn't love you anymore. What's the point of forcing her to stay? Mr. Gu, don't so easily label me as the one being cheated on. I'm not forcing Emily to stay. I clearly gave her the chance to divorce. Since you two love each other so much, you should persuade Emily to agree to leave with nothing and quickly divorce me, then marry her. But why haven't you? Admit it, Guan Chong, you just can't stand her having nothing. If she really leaves with nothing, you would abandon her again, just like you did when her family's business failed. I have to say, Guan Chong, this so-called elite is really two-faced, wanting both the real benefits and the false reputation. After having his thoughts exposed, he didn't leave a word, only a red exclamation point. I've never seen a man as petty as Guan Chong in my life. I even felt sorry for Emily, who had been my wife for 10 years. What was she thinking? But it seems I felt sorry for her too early. That very night, Emily stormed back. Her momentum was fierce. She was shouting and screaming like a mad woman and even started to get physical. However, compared to me, Emily was thin and small. Whether she acted or not made no difference. She couldn't harm me at all, but it still had a huge impact on me. I had never seen such a wild and unrestrained Emily before. I could imagine that Guan Chong had exaggerated things to her, but I never thought Emily would throw such a tantrum at me without any regard for her image. Now, my last bit of perception of her as refined, elegant, beautiful, and charming was gone. I originally felt a bit sorry that my beautiful wife had become blind and fallen for someone else. But now, forget it. I don't want such a crazy woman at all. After avoiding her for a night, I felt increasingly uneasy. God knows what other tricks this pair of scoundrels might pull. It's better not to provoke them. It was time to leave, to get away for a while. I decided on Australia. Traveling without worrying about work or money is truly joyful. I'm grateful to my past self for working hard these past few years. If there's anything still bothering me, it's that money keeps being transferred out of my account from time to time. Even an idiot could guess that this money is definitely being transferred by Emily and Guan Chong. I'm puzzled. Has Guan Cheng's family fallen on hard times too? Isn't this just him living off a woman? I wouldn't even mind if he was simply living off her, but Emily and I aren't divorced yet. Moreover, as the unfaithful party, she should leave with nothing. This means the money she's giving to Guan Chong is all mine. Damn it, I'm furious. I immediately sued Emily for unauthorized transfer of marital property and requested to freeze the account. In the back and forth, more than 2 months passed. Lawyer David brought me the news that I had won the lawsuit for unauthorized transfer of marital property. Guan Chong had to return every cent he received. It was great news, matching perfectly with the blue sky and white clouds here. Although Emily could apply to unfreeze the account later, it would cause her enough trouble. 6 months flew by, and it was time to file for divorce again. Emily didn't waste a single day and sued once more. "You still don't want a divorce?" her lawyer asked me. I answered, "No divorce, of course. I won't divorce unless Emily agrees to leave with nothing. But now that we've completely torn off our masks, the only path forward might be to fight to the bitter end. We'll see who can outlast the other. Winning the second divorce lawsuit won't be as easy as the first. I must go back to appear in court personally." When I saw Emily in court, I almost didn't recognize her. At first glance, she looked much more haggard, with dark circles under her eyes on her once fair face. But the most noticeable thing was her visibly pregnant belly. Disgusting. I had inquired a few days ago and learned that the company had been quite unsuccessful these past few months. When the account was frozen, things were particularly chaotic. Of course, most of this was my doing. I looked towards the audience seats. Sure enough, Guan Chong was there too. Unlike Emily, he hadn't changed much, still maintaining that refined and luxurious air of his. Even more disgusting, Emily is truly blind. It serves her right to end up like this. She deserves my ruthlessness for making me so sick. Before the court session even began, I could sense their impatience. No wonder. Judging by Emily's belly, she must be at least 5 months along. If they can't get divorced now, waiting another 6 months to sue again, they might be able to wait, but the child in her belly can't. They deserve it. It's just that they're really making me sick this time. The lawyer they hired seems quite expensive. His speech is very polished, and I have to admit, quite reasonable and well-founded. But no matter how eloquently he speaks, it's useless now. To deal with the divorce lawsuit, I spent the last 6 months cramming the civil code in addition to my leisure time. Although my situation with Emily is quite complicated, the court requires evidence to prove that the marriage is indeed broken down to grant a divorce. After giving myself a mental pep talk, I opened my mouth. I won't divorce. I haven't committed any fundamental mistakes in the marriage. She's pregnant with my child. I won't divorce. As soon as these words came out, Emily, Guan Chong, and even my lawyer, David, were all a bit confused. Emily couldn't hold back anymore. To prove she had cheated, she blurted out, "My child isn't his." After saying that, she realized what she'd done and froze. After all, she valued her reputation the most. And I, enduring the disgust again, strongly retorted that the child was mine. Emily was once again thrown off, balanced by me. She argued, raising her voice, that the child wasn't mine. Both of our lawyers couldn't get a word in edgewise, and the scene devolved into something resembling a shouting match. The onlookers were all bewildered. Who would so passionately prove they had cheated? But even more outrageous was that the person who had been cheated on insisted on acknowledging an illegitimate child as their own. Yet, all of this was unfolding realistically before their eyes, a real eye-opener. Didn't I think it was absurd to consider an illegitimate child as my own? But I've done too many things that hurt both myself and others, so it doesn't matter if I do it one more time. I'd rather lose face than my money. Should I agree to a divorce and split half my assets with those two scoundrels? Absolutely not. After the gavel banged repeatedly, along with a loud silence, the arguing between me and Emily and the murmuring from the gallery suddenly stopped. The judge requested the plaintiff to produce DNA evidence proving that the child was not the defendant's. Of course, Emily couldn't provide it. Even if she was exceptionally clever, she couldn't have anticipated this move. So, the divorce was not granted, and Emily's lawyer tried his best to obtain a postponement of the court hearing so she could gather evidence of her own infidelity. It was utterly ridiculous. Although I felt disgusted, it was still a victory. I left the courthouse feeling quite pleased with myself. Unexpectedly, Emily came to stop me. "Michael, you're ruthless," Emily said through gritted teeth, looking very unwilling. "I agree to leave with nothing. Is that good enough for you?" It seemed she had finally run out of steam. If this continued, her child would become an illegitimate child, and what their social circle detested the most was illegitimate children. Guan Chong, who was walking towards Emily from behind, paused noticeably after hearing her agree to leave with nothing. I scoffed. "So you couldn't hold out and agreed? Did you forget what I said?" "Emily, this is the last chance I'm giving you. If you miss this opportunity, you'll be stuck with me for life. Even if you agree to leave with nothing later, I won't let you off. Don't regret it." Emily's face finally twisted completely. Guan Chong, who was standing a little further away, also had an equally interesting expression on his face. Emily was the first to break down and started cursing again. But this pampered young lady's cursing skills were quite average. She kept repeating beast and madman, lacking any real impact. Guan Chong, perhaps feeling embarrassed, blended into the crowd without anyone noticing. As I stood there, with Emily's curses ringing in my ears, I turned around and left. Let her go crazy. The crazier she gets, the happier I am. On the way back in the car, David asked me, "Mr. Liu, excuse my bluntness, but since the woman has already agreed to leave with nothing, why are you still not planning to divorce?" "Not divorcing. Now that she's pregnant, it's even more impossible for her to fight against me. I'll wear her down." Lawyer David stopped talking, and the atmosphere became momentarily silent. Although David's tone was already very careful, I could still tell that he probably felt a bit sympathetic towards Emily. Well, someone who can only see the surface would naturally feel pity for Emily, who is currently at a complete disadvantage. That's a normal reaction for a normal person. But everyone has a temper. If Emily had just honestly apologized in the beginning, properly compensated me, and obediently agreed to leave with nothing, none of this would have happened. But Emily had to provoke me and betray me, so she should just bear my wrath. It's far from enough right now. In the past few years, besides being a good husband to her, I haven't neglected my career. I know Emily's company isn't clean. It's time to get someone to audit the accounts. Before long, with my relentless efforts, Emily was on the verge of bankruptcy again. This is her true form. I could help her rise like a phoenix from the ashes, and I could also beat her back into her original shape. As for the divorce lawsuit, even if Emily did a DNA test to prove the child wasn't mine, I would still profess my deep love for her and say that the marital relationship hadn't completely broken down. In the end, the court still ruled against her. I was so happy that I immediately ordered a bowl of noodles to celebrate. Compared to champagne and steak, the food of the common people is indeed more suitable for me. But just as I was enthusiastically slurping my noodles, the person who had left a red exclamation mark on my contact list tried to add me again. How unlucky. But I was curious about what he wanted, so I accepted the request. He said, "Emily's belly is already very big. Please just let her go. The company is the only thing her parents left her. I'm willing to step aside, okay? Just live happily with her." I was completely baffled. The noodle I had just sucked almost slipped back into the soup. This guy was a fighter among scoundrels, a VIP among idiots, wasn't he? I fought back the nausea that was making my fingers tremble and replied, "Are you kidding me? Her belly is big, so you're stepping aside and giving her back to me? Is that what you're saying? Are you playing some kind of twisted game? Giving me Emily along with your gift?" I was so angry I laughed. Guan Chong couldn't possibly think that the reason I wasn't agreeing to the divorce was because I was actually deeply in love with Emily. Could he? He must think I'm a complete fool. That's right, I did it on purpose. Right after sending the message, I immediately gave Guan Chong a red exclamation mark back. Having such a brain-dead contact on my phone is a disgrace. I hadn't even had a moment's peace before I received a call from the hospital. At first, I thought she was about to give birth and they needed to find her legal husband. But who would have known that she had been hit by a car? When I rushed to the hospital, Emily was being taken into the ICU. Guan Chong was also there, his disheveled appearance quite amusing. In the chaos, I pieced together what had happened. The company went bankrupt, they couldn't get a divorce, and Guan Chong and Emily were in constant turmoil, with more and more arguments. They even argued non-stop on the way to the hospital for her prenatal checkup. Guan Chong, who was driving, was distracted by Emily, didn't drive properly, and now 2 of their loved ones were in a state of despair. I was pulled into the office, and the doctor said, "The baby in the patient's womb cannot be saved, and the patient's own condition is also very serious. She needs immediate surgery." The doctor went on and on about a series of things. Simply translated, it meant the surgery had high risks, high costs, and a low chance of survival. Then he told me that if I agreed to the surgery, I should sign the papers quickly. No saving her. I give up this time. I was genuinely happy from the bottom of my heart. I had been dragging out the divorce, thinking I could wear her down, but that would be a loss for me too. But who knew that now? Even the heavens wanted to help me get rid of her. How could I waste this opportunity? The moment I signed my name on the form to refuse treatment, I felt a sense of relief. My mind was clear, and there was a feeling of rebirth. After Emily's death, as her husband, of course, all the property was mine. The adulterer wouldn't get a single penny. But I'm a very sentimental person, and I had another gift to give Guan Chong. After some time, after Emily's body was cremated, I went to meet Guan Chong. Actually, I didn't want to see him, but unfortunately, the gift hadn't been delivered yet. Guan Chong obviously didn't want to see me either. He said fiercely, "Emily is already dead. Won't you let me go?" The way you say it, it's like I'm some heinous villain. "I've come to give you a gift." I handed him the white porcelain urn. "Take it. This is Emily's ashes. A woman was willing to die for you, so you should be secretly happy." No matter how wonderful Guan Cheng's expression was, I turned and left without looking back. In the future, I would have money and leisure, and I would only get better and better. From then on, I truly started a new life. The money and property I obtained from the divorce settlement allowed me to freely explore the world. I traveled to many countries, experiencing different cultures and savoring a wide variety of cuisines. I no longer had to endure the cold shoulder treatment from Emily or engage in those exhausting battles. I invested part of my assets in various emerging industries. Thanks to my years of experience in business networking and my shrewd judgment, most of my investments were successful. My wealth grew steadily, and I gradually became a well-known figure in the business world. People respected me not only for my financial success, but also for my unique business acumen. One day, while attending a high-profile business conference, I unexpectedly met an old acquaintance. It was a former colleague of Emily's. We exchanged greetings, and somehow, the topic turned to Emily. The colleague told me that before her accident, Emily had actually started to realize her mistakes. She had planned to have a sincere conversation with me, hoping to resolve our conflicts amicably and make up for the harm she had caused. I was stunned by this revelation. For a long time, I had been consumed by hatred and the desire for revenge, but now, hearing these words, a strange feeling welled up inside me. I thought back to the early days of our marriage, when there were indeed some sweet and warm moments. Maybe if things had been different, if we had communicated better, our story wouldn't have ended so tragically. After that encounter, I couldn't help but think about the past more often. I began to realize that my pursuit of revenge had also taken a toll on myself. I had wasted a lot of time and energy on negative emotions, which could have been used to create more positive things. I decided to do something meaningful. I set up a charity fund in Emily's name, mainly used to help struggling entrepreneurs and support underprivileged students. I hoped that through this way, I could make up for some of the harm caused by our failed marriage and also give back to society. As time went by, I gradually let go of the past. I met a kind and gentle woman, and we fell in love. She didn't care about my past or my wealth. She loved me for who I was. We got married, and this time, our marriage was based on true love and mutual understanding. Looking back on my life, I realized that every experience, whether it was painful or joyful, was a precious lesson. It shaped me into the person I am today. Although the story with Emily was full of bitterness and regret, it also made me grow and understand the true meaning of love and forgiveness. And now, I was finally able to embrace a new life with a peaceful and content heart. My new wife and I led a simple yet fulfilling life. We would often go on long walks hand in hand on weekends, exploring the hidden corners of the city, discovering new cafes and bookstores. During holidays, we'd escape to the countryside, away from the hustle and bustle, and enjoy the tranquility of nature. Our home was filled with laughter and warmth. We'd cook together, sometimes creating delicious masterpieces, and other times ending up with a bit of a kitchen mess, but still having a great time. We shared our dreams, fears, and daily stories, building a deep connection that I had never experienced before. The charity fund in Emily's name continued to thrive. It had already helped numerous entrepreneurs get their businesses off the ground and provided educational opportunities for countless students. I received letters and emails from the beneficiaries regularly, sharing their success stories and expressing their gratitude. Reading these messages always filled me with a sense of pride and purpose. One day, I received a call from a lawyer representing Guan Chong. He informed me that Gu had been in a difficult financial situation for some time. After Emily's death, he had lost his motivation and made a series of wrong investment decisions. He wanted to meet with me to discuss a possible way out. I was hesitant at first. The memories of the past conflicts and his role in my failed marriage still stung a bit. But then I thought about the growth I had experienced and the importance of forgiveness. I agreed to meet him. When we met, Guan Chong looked haggard and defeated. He apologized sincerely for everything that had happened in the past, admitting that his actions had been selfish and short-sighted. He said that he had learned a hard lesson from life and was now trying to turn things around. I decided to offer him a helping hand, not out of pity, but because I believed in second chances. I introduced him to some of my business contacts and provided him with some advice on getting back on his feet. Slowly but surely, he started to rebuild his life. As the years passed, I realized that true happiness doesn't come from winning a battle or getting revenge. It comes from the love we share, the kindness we show, and the positive impact we have on others' lives. I was grateful for the journey I had been through, for it had taught me the most valuable lessons of all: the power of love, the importance of letting go, and the beauty of giving. And I knew that, with my newfound wisdom and the love of my life by my side, I was ready to face whatever the future held with courage and optimism. After my passing, my family and friends gathered to celebrate the life I'd lived. The stories they shared weren't just about my business success or the charity work I'd done. They were filled with memories of the laughter, the warmth I brought, and the way I'd touched their lives. My wife, though heartbroken, found solace in the decades of love we'd shared and the beautiful family we'd built. She became an even more active force behind the charity fund, ensuring that my vision continued to thrive. With her guidance, the fund took on new initiatives, partnering with local communities to address immediate needs and investing in long-term projects that promised sustainable change. My daughter, following in my footsteps, but with her own unique flair, expanded her social enterprise. She traveled the world, forging connections with like-minded individuals and organizations. Her work not only provided financial support, but also empowered people to take control of their lives, fostering a sense of self-reliance and community spirit. Guan Chong, too, played a part in keeping my memory alive. He often spoke at events related to the charity fund, sharing how our reconciliation had transformed his perspective on life and business. His story, combined with mine, became a powerful example of how forgiveness could lead to personal growth and positive change. Over time, my story spread far and wide. It was featured in books, documentaries, and even became a topic of discussion in schools and universities. Young people, facing their own challenges and setbacks, found inspiration in my journey from a place of anger and hurt to one of love and understanding. The house where my family and I had created so many precious memories became a place of pilgrimage for those who had been touched by my story. It was filled with photographs, mementos, and messages from people all over the world, a testament to the impact one life could have. As the years turned into decades, my legacy endured. It wasn't just about the institutions I'd helped build or the money I'd left behind. It was about the values I'd lived by: love, kindness, and the belief in second chances. These values were passed down through generations, becoming a part of my family's heritage and inspiring countless others to live their lives with purpose and compassion.